Y'all know what time it is. It's Monday and it is sale time. So as we prepare to get into this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac, I want y'all to just go on ahead and take a look at Amirin.com. For Cyber Monday, you can get 40% off everything in the shop. Oh yes, everything. 40% off. Just use the code Cyber Monday at checkout or check the link in the description of this video. Click on that link that says sale for Cyber Monday and it'll take you right to the site. Now, don't miss out on this because I had to debate with myself. I was like 40% off. I'm just giving this away. But y'all know what? I love y'all. So let's go ahead and do the doggone thing, Skye Squad. Let's get into this sale right now. And now that we got that out of the way, y'all know what time it is. Skye Squad, are you ready? Because it's time for the show. The way up into this good commercial right here, baby. Happy Monday, y'all. We are back with another episode of, recapping Real Housewives of Potomac for the very last time for season 6, baby. It has been a long run and it was good last night. Oh, but it was good last night. We're going to rate the episode. We got a little bit of news to talk about with, Nicki calling out Wendy, Nicki calling out Candiace's husband clapping back at Nicki. Oh, yes, indeed. Wendy calling Gizelle a turkey neck. It is lit in these social media streets. And then around about 1:30, maybe 1 o'clock, 1:30, we're going to then talk about the chaos and the calamity that was Porsha's Family Matters Season 1, Episode 1, under the Real Housewives of Atlanta umbrella. Oh, yes, we're going to get into the mess. We're going to get all the way up into the mess. We're going to dive into the nooks and the crannies, so definitely come back for that, okay? Because I know you're seeing it. Okay? I know you're seeing it. Shout out to the natural lighting today. I'm using some natural lighting from the window. I got one studio light over here just in case you guys were wondering. I feel like I look a little clearer today, so I'm really excited about that as well. Now, if you're in the chatterization, let us know where you're watching from. I like to highlight a couple of people. I'm not gonna do too many today, but I see Florida's in here. DMV is in the place to be. Okay, who else is up in there? Who else up in here? Who else up in this jamboree? Okay. Let us know. ATL, I see you in the building as well. Louisiana, who else we got up in here? Who else is in the building? NJ is in the building. Okay. Houston, Texas, North Carolina, Alabama. Here we go. Richmond, Virginia, Durham, North Carolina, Dallas in chatterization, Forest City, Arkansas, Georgia, Arizona, Orlando, St. Petersburg, Flint, Michigan, Richmond, Virginia. I see you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and stage dive into our first news item of the day. Okay. Nicki Minaj is calling out Wendy Acefo. Okay. Now, why is she calling out Wendy Acefo? Well, as you guys may recall, last night we were treated to a little clipperization of Dr. Wendy Acefo flipping through Nicki Minaj's reunion cue cards. Okay. Oh, yes. Dr. Wendy has said, I wants to know. Okay. I wants to know the questions. Okay. In my Miss Wanda voice. I wants to know the questions that's about to be asked today. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it upon myself to reach on over. Okay. As Karen Hugo says, these acrylic nails, reach on over. Okay. And I'm going to tap on these cards and read them. Okay. I'm going to tap on these cards and read them. And you know what? It was kind of, now I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I have been a very staunch Wendy Acefo, Dr. Wendy Acefo supporter this season. I have had her back. I have run with her through the fire. Okay. But tonight, baby, now they came with something different today, okay? Because I was like, Wendy, this is a little cringeworthy. Why would you pick up the cards and try to read them? I would not even have the gall or the gumption to reach over and grab my employer's cards, okay? And then grab them for myself and read them. How I can't. Can I come back on the screen real quick? I wouldn't have the gumption to grab my employer's cards, okay, the question cards, and then read them for myself. What in the world? How would you think to do that? Real quick, 2 quick comments. Miss D says that's never been done and was underhanded. No like. Thank you. We have Luxious Lee who says, Richie, Wendy always does sneaky stuff. I just couldn't quite understand it. So anyway, Nicki didn't understand it either. Here's what she had to say on the Twitter. She says, okay, so while we on commercial, it was beyond corny for Wendy to look at my cards on the low. I'm that chick that leaves my money, jewelry, etc. out around people because I trust everyone is like me and won't violate. I hate when people do sneaky things like that, child. Okay. You know, it was cringeworthy to me. It just didn't make no sense because at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, this just get into the spirit of fun that, you know, Nicki's gonna come and read y'all for the filth. Okay. That's really about it. That's all you can do. That's all you can do, girl. I mean, it's nothing bigger than that. You know what I mean? But you know, given the nature of what Wendy got asked, okay, about the booty models. Okay, we're gonna get into that in a little bit. I might want to know what the questions are too. Now, just so y'all know, okay, Gizelle has some things to say about this situation as well. Oh, yes. Gizelle got in on the action, and you know Gizelle don't usually do the Twitter, okay? She does not usually do the Twitter beefs, all right? But let me tell you what she had to say in response to Nicki's statement. Let me pull it up right here for you, okay? She said this. And no one has ever or would ever look at Andy's cards. So why do that to Nicki Minaj? Hashtag disrespect. Now, this comes to us from our friends over at TV Deets. Also, TV Deets was the first to break the news that Karen Huger was doing her spinoff. So again, shout out to them. Again, listen, follow these people that I tell y'all to follow because you get some good tea. You'll get some good tea, y'all. Nicole says, we were warned Wendy is unethical and will steal contacts. That is not surprising. We are getting to know the real Wendy, grimy, corny, and the most. Ooh, well, tell us how you really feel about it, Nicole. Tell us how you really feel. I didn't like me some Wendy. I did. I like her. I just felt like that was kind of weird. It was weird. I ain't really. And you know, listen, if Gizelle tweeting about you, now it's something because she don't normally get out of her Gucci car to do the tweets, okay? But she might should have stayed quiet because Wendy said, you are so bothered. You don't tweet all season, but dust your little Twitter fingers off for little old me. Go to sleep, turkey neck. The season is over. Toya says, I would have looked too. Nicki wasn't organizing her questioning. Nicki isn't Wendy's boss. Yeah, but I'm gonna show you something in a minute. I'm gonna show you something in a minute. But Toya, I sometimes listen. I get it. I wouldn't have done it, but you know, I get what you're saying. Now did she say the turkey neck? Not the turkey. Given that we just came off Thanksgiving, I got to tell y'all something. I had some turkey neck for breakfast today. I really did. Because in my mind, I had, my two boiled eggs. And then when I looked in the refrigerator, we had some leftover turkeys. And it was some turkey. I feel like it was the neck part of it, okay? And so I had a little turkey neck this morning. So that's this statement right here is really just hitting to my spirit, okay? Go to sleep, turkey neck. Oh gosh. I mean, the shade is just is at an all-time high right at the end of the season. Right at the end of the season. Why we got to go there? Turkey neck. Okay, so it was another statement that I wanted to read y'all real quick that Nicki has said. It was really interesting because she indicated which questions. Oh, she says, I forgot to tell you guys, all of the questions were mine, with the exception of the Eddie Booty model question, and if Gizelle and Robyn shared a bed in the hotel question, were courtesy of the producer phone call I did with Bravo. Love the producers, and our calls were hilarious. So the Eddie Booty model question really came from that good production. All right. And that was after they had done produced these receipts. Now, these are shady producers. Shady producers. After the producers produced the receipts of how many people Eddie was following before the booty article came out. And then they posted how many he was following after the booty model article came out. Before, after. Before, after. Before, after. Now, you know, production, why must y'all be so shady? Now, I ain't gonna even lie. The booty model question came out. It just rolled off. Every question rolled off Nicki's tongue with just like the greatest of ease. Okay. And it was just, I tell you, it was perfect. It was perfection last night. But meanwhile, she has some other things to say about Chris Bassett. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let me see if I can pull it up. Well, let me I'm gonna move on over to, hold on, I got it on another page. So if you head on over to Queens of Bravo, all right, one of the things that they happened to capture was Nicki saying, Candy girl husband need to sit his butt down, child, laughing my A off. Hashtag Real Housewives of Potomac. Chris Bassett says, I don't need to do nothing but support my wife. Now, ooh, okay. If you missed last night, we're going to talk about it in a minute, you will know that Chris Bassett had a problem with the line of questioning, I guess, coming from Nicki based on what we saw. Now, unless I missed something, and we're going to talk about it, I really didn't feel like the line of questioning coming from Nicki towards Candiace was really all that bad. These are questions you would ask any artist who tells someone, you know, my strongest points are my vocal ability. Why would you not want to sing your song? And so I feel like that's a standard question that people ask in the industry. Should you go to radio? Should you do TV interviews and stuff like that? They're going to ask you, particularly in the Black community, because they want to hear those vocals. If you are a rapper, they're going to want to hear you freestyle. So as a rapper, you should always have a freestyle ready, okay? Something that you got stored in your memory banks. And then as a singer, you got to have some songs ready and ready to go. So to me, I didn't see nothing wrong with it, but maybe it was something that we missed. And so that's why Chris felt a type of way. But it made for some interesting TV because it made me wonder what else was asked that we didn't see. Now, Asatra says, hey, Richie, I tagged you on Marriage Huntsville site. The reunion is coming up. They got the trailer out now. It's spicy. Yes, I do know. And we're going to talk about that in another video. Thank you so much, Boo. I appreciate you. Anytime y'all see something y'all want to tag me in it, go ahead and do so. I appreciate it. Definitely. Trust and believe I do. Because y'all help me because I ain't on social media all day long. And sometimes we all are on at different times, so we might see something a little different, and I appreciate it, okay? Now, what I will say about this whole situation is this. Now, Chris, if I was you, now, listen, I know you want to support your wife, sir. I do. I know you want to support your wife, and I'm not mad at you for wanting to do it. But what I will say is, I think you might want to sit this one out. And the reason I say that is because the Barbs, let me tell you something, that is one group that you do not need to be, you do not need to get on their bad side. Trust and believe. You do not want the Barbs to be on, you don't want to be on their bad side, okay? Wrong road, wrong road. I'm just going to tell you what I know, and we didn't seen it happen, and you don't want to do it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Because at the end of the day, I mean, that ain't what you want. And that's the real, okay? That you playing in a different league when you start messing with the barbs and you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. And that's it. And also too, I mean, it's Nicki. I mean, I don't really think that you need to be going back and forth with Nicki. But listen, make the news, okay? Make the news for me. So yeah, that's the news going with regards to the episode. I just thought I would give y'all a little bit of information right there. Now, if you happen to catch last night's episode, go ahead in the chatterization and let us know what you would rate the episode. On a scale of 1 to 10, reunion part 4, what would you rate this reunion on a scale of 1 to 10? For me, okay, give me your rating and then let me know in the chatterization what you why you would rate it that, okay? If you can give us a little bit of explanation. Autumn says, I love Nicki, but she got to remember these are housewives. One of them easily could have came for her situation regarding her husband, but I doubt they would have. I mean, you're right though. If it was another housewife, yes. But given that it was Nicki, they weren't gonna try it. Okay. Felicia gave it a 6, JD 6, 8, 8, 10, 8, 9.5, 10, 5, 10, 8.5, 9.5, 9, 8, 10, 6. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm gonna give it. We had another super chat. Bruce says, I sent this earlier. I honestly don't see anything wrong with her peeking at the cards. It's never been done in the franchise. Wendy, stay winning. Well, listen, everybody got their different perspectives on it. Now, would it have crossed my mind to want to know what was on the questions? Yeah, but would I have done it? Probably not. But it makes for good TV. You're right about that. It does make for some good TV. Here's what I would say. I'm gonna give this a 10. And the reason why I'm going to give it a 10 is because right now we have some unprecedented things happening in the landscape of Housewives and Bravo TV. And I love some of the things that they're doing for reality TV right now with regards to just trying to break outside of the box and do something very, very different that I felt like was necessary in its time. 3 things that are happening right now that I find to be completely chaotic and wild. One, you have Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, which is just, it is perfection. Mind you, I have notes here for the next episode. For episode 5 that I do got to do a video for. But then you also have, you have Portia's spinoff, which is the most chaotic mess of a show I have ever seen. And I cannot wait until we talk about it. But then I would also say too, number 3, 10. I'm giving this a 10 because this follows in line with them trying to do something different. And I felt like that's why I gave it so much of a 10, because this was something that we have never seen before. And I'm so glad that they're finally breaking the mold from these, reunions where we kind of like get a sense of, I kind of feel like last night people weren't able to get away with the stuff that they're normally able to get away with, right? Nicki's asking very pointed questions to, Gizelle about looks. She's asking pointed questions to Ashley, and Karen and Mia about whether or not they would actually be with their men if they had their own money. She's asking pointed questions that, wasn't going to be asked to Wendy about the booty models, which I had not even paid attention to, okay? This was not something that was even on my radar. She was asking questions, and actually, she was calling Candiace out for interrupting everyone when Andy was and when I look back at the situation, Nicki called out Candiace every time Candiace interrupted somebody. And I felt like maybe there was a lot of that going around all night from everybody. But what I will say is, as I reflect back on parts 1 through 3 of the reunion, Candiace did that a lot, interjecting and saying things, when people were trying to talk. And Andy never cut her off, and Andy never said, wait, I'm talking. Nicki was like, yo, girl, calm down. Whoa, Candy girl. Whoa, Candy girl. Even Gizelle had gotten to the point where she was like, can you please let this woman finish speaking? So to me, I felt like Nicki was able to do some things that I felt like Andy was not capable of doing. And that's just real to me. And that's why, to me, I don't think it was a perfect execution, but I thought it was funny. I thought it was different. And for me, it's a step in a new direction that I absolutely love. So, you know, it wasn't perfect, but it was good. It was good enough for me to make it must see TV. Okay. So let's get into it. Hicks World says, honey, when she told Ashley she didn't have a storyline, I fell out. She told Candy Gal to hush. I was so weak. Okay. Thank you, boo. So here's what we have. We start the episode off with Ashley, you know, asking Nicki, well, is my family, you know, not a storyline? And Ashley says that it's her 6th season on the show, and she has brought a lot to the show. Ashley says that everyone was giving her a completely different story when she first got down to the girls' trip down to was it Williamsburg, and she says that you know, and she wanted to recap what everybody had told her and finally get some real answers from Wendy. Now, Wendy says she didn't feel like Ashley was being malicious, but Nicki is adamant that Ashley didn't have nothing to do. She brought her breast milk down to the Williamsburg to stir up the juice and get in on the action. Now, and my question to y'all in the audience is this. Do you feel like Ashley's main purpose for coming down to the Williamsburg was to stir up the drama? Give me a yes or a no in the chatterization. Give me a yes or a no. Do you feel like Ashley's main purpose for coming down to Williamsburg was to stir up the drama with Wendy? Let me know. Let me know. Some people are divided. I mean, I'm seeing some yeses. I'm seeing some no's. Yes. I mean, you know. Because Wendy's whole stance on that was no, it was Gizelle and I'm gonna cut the fish off from the head down, and it was Gizelle. Ashley is the bone collector, baby. She was like, I got a bone, here go a bone, you got a bone, we got a bone, I'm gonna bury the bone. It was a lot. It was a lot. Toya says, truth be told, Bravo should have asked Richie to the reunion. We would have gotten the questions we were seeking. Yes, I think Ashley was the main. That was Ashley's main purpose. Thank you, boo. Somebody said she came to do a job. Anyway, Candiace defends that Ashley had to work, and Nicki's like, "Whoa, Candy girl, let me talk to Ashley." Okay. Robyn claims that Ashley didn't expect Wendy to react the way that she did. And Nicki is like, you didn't? Now, see, again, this is where I got to say, sometimes, Robyn, I understand you want to step in and defend your friends, but sometimes it might just be better if you just stop. Because at the end of the day, you can't be serious right now. You can't be serious that you feel like Wendy had no right to react to that situation, or like that was unexpected. Get out of here. Okay, get out of here. Anyway, Santane says, I was confused when Candiace said, well, Ashley had to work, but she never even invited her on the trip to begin with. Why was she defending her actions? You know, when we asked Ashley this, I think we asked her something about this situation on Good Day DC, and Ashley basically stated that maybe she felt like Candiace felt like somebody new was coming into the group, and so she kind of had to step in to defend Ashley a little bit, because while they can all kind of go in on each other, it doesn't feel quite right when somebody else comes in and does it to them as well. So I think that was what was going on in that moment, but I could be wrong. But that's what Ashley said. Adrienne says, I think Ashley was just relaying information to make Wendy aware. Wendy took it wrong. Okay. I mean, you know, regardless, Ashley took the bone and said, listen, we're going to get to the bottom of this today. Okay. Nicki addresses that Juan and Robyn seem to be more connected, and that Juan seemed to be happier with her this season. And Nicki is asking questions about whether or not it's because Robyn is making more money and he's seeing her on TV and stuff like that. You know, not to be a negative Nancy, and I'm definitely not trying to be that, but I did not see, whereas I felt like Juan was being that much kinder to her. If anything, I felt like he was still insensitive, because she was telling him, it's hard for me to get out of bed. And he's like, this is unattractive. Okay. This is unattractive. Get on up and do something with yourself. Yeah, I mean, things need to get done. And so then I felt like the next thing that the next time we really see him, you know, true enough, they are having some nice moments, but at the end of the day, part of her angst was coming from stuff that he has said to her this season. And then to top it all off, the next time we see him later on in the season, you know, he getting mad at her because she bringing up stuff from their past, and he driving off on her, even though she said he drove back. I hope he apologized for almost slamming her fingers up in the door. And then the next time we see him is at the vow renewal for Karen. And at that point, he is basically telling her, I gotta go. I can't stay here with you. I done my part. I done got Chris and Michael back together as friends, and I'm out. Bye. Okay. So to me, I just didn't see it. I mean, right, Brandon. I don't even know if that's how it come across. Like, I can't even really be bothered with you. That's how it come across to me. And I'm not trying to throw no shade at Robyn, because I think Robyn is a beautiful woman. I really do. I just think that she sells herself short with her friendships and with her relationship. But that's just me, and from what I see on the outside looking in. Okay. Nicki brings up people saying that Robyn follows Gizelle, and she asks about the whole thing where Robyn says, well, are we mad at Ashley for the fallout from Wendy cursing them out or whatever? Robyn claims she was just asking in general, okay? And that we have to remember that she was drunk. They get into a back and forth about whether or not the invitation to the Reasonably Shady party was shady, or whether or not Wendy's invitation to them to come to to the last trip was shady. They were all shady invites. Bottom line, they were all shady invites, and that was that. If you really want to be honest about it, whether or not Gizelle and Robyn were, you know, Nicki said, well, if I'm not a hater, they weren't talking to me. But at the end of the day, you know, they were talking to somebody. So, and they were talking to Wendy. Bottom line, they were talking about Wendy and Karen. It is what it is. And they can try to make it seem like they weren't, but they were. Was Wendy being shady with her invite? Yes, she was. Okay, everybody was shady. Fine. Paparazzi V says Nicki questions were BS. She was unorganized, overreaching. She did a lot of overspeaking them when they answered, and disrespectful, especially to Ashley. I will say this. I don't really, especially if you look at Ashley's social media and the post that she just made about how happy she was with Nicki there. I will tell you one thing. I had a conversation with Ashley behind the scenes at Good Day DC. Ashley is very much like unbothered by most of what happens. Okay, she is a very good sport about answering questions that may seem very difficult, and it rolls off of her like literally like rain on a freshly shellacked windshield. It really does. And she has such a zen state about her that I feel like you could say almost anything to her and she would just be like, I mean, you know, either yeah, I didn't, or no, I didn't. I mean, what? And it does not bother her. I will tell you that she is a very thick-skinned person, and none of this stuff phases her at all. Thank you so much, Paparazzi V. Clarissa says the whole faux relationship is unattractive. I forgot what we was talking about. Thank you. Maybe he was talking about Robyn and Juan. Okay, maybe that was it. So, it gets into this dialogue about whether or not, you know, the people coming to Nicki and, you know, her seeing comments about Robyn and Gizelle being secret lovers, and she wants to know if they were getting $50 million, would they be secret lovers? And Gizelle is like, for $50 million, yes. And then I'll bring Ashley along too, okay? Because we are a throuple. They get into a little bit of that. You know, I was kind of in and out of that conversation, to be honest with you. Nicki says, okay, so this was a very interesting conversation. Nicki asked Robyn, thank you so much for the super chat, Mina Shay. Nicki says, Robyn, do you think that Michael is attracted to Juan? And Robyn says, yes. And Nicki is like, well, why are you so cool about that? So it's basically what she's trying to say is, you know that there's a man out there that is attracted to your husband, but your husband and this man, have dialogue. They conversate on the phone and this, that, and the third. Now, I believe I'm in trying to take my notes with this because the conversation was so kind of jumbled. My assumption was that she was saying that, okay, if it was a man or a woman that was attracted to your husband, why are you okay with either one of them having phone conversations with your husband? Okay. If you know that they are attracted to them. Ashley's take on it is that it's a joke, but Nicki brings up this point that she's like, for a lot of men in the African American community, if they felt like, another man was attracted to them, some of them may be offended by it. And she asked if Juan has any other gay male friends because of his level of comfort with it. But in saying that, what she actually accidentally does is she accidentally calls Michael gay. And so Ashley has to kind of speak up in that moment, and Nicki has to sort of double back on that and say any other gay male friends, like not including Michael. The whole conversation was very, very interesting. And I felt like Nicki was trying to have a conversation that was probably a little bit deeper than what what anybody was ready for in that scenario. And I don't even know if she was ready to have that conversation herself, because I feel like that's a whole nother level type of conversation that I just don't think that these ladies are like equipped to be able to talk about right now. Much less, okay, you cannot have that conversation without acknowledging that either you think that, whatever you might think about Michael, okay, and the truth of what he is or what he is not, okay? So it was interesting dialogue with that. And I don't know if y'all happen to catch her have to double back on that statement that, well, she's not meaning that Michael is gay, but that if Juan's level of comfort seemed to indicate that it didn't bother him. That's basically what she was trying to say. But I think it was kind of difficult for her to work herself into that statement. Brand new TJ says Nicki did okay. She wanted to throw shade she wanted to throw more shade than interview. She lost control of being a host and everyone was talking over each other. Renia B says, I was annoyed by the fact that Candiace kept inserting herself into Gizelle's alliance and they weren't even checking for her. I mean, yeah, that kept happening. So that was very interesting dialogue. Karen tries to take control of the situation and tries to get Nicki to change the subject. And I didn't mind Karen trying to do that. But then, Nicki, of course, had to say, now listen, Grand Dame, you're not in charge here today, okay? You're not in charge here. But I felt like Karen was starting to feel kind of like how us in the audience were feeling like this conversation ain't going the way that I think that she think it's going, okay? Anyway, we get back from the break, and Nicki asked Gizelle, ask if Gizelle is a different person with the girls. Then she heavily butters Gizelle up about how beautiful she is, and then remarking about how much Gizelle has talked about her own looks. And then Nicki does say, well, Gizelle, you look a little different. Do you think that your looks have faded at all? Now, honestly, it was a gag moment because I wasn't anticipating that. Caramel Cutie says, Nicki asked the question to Karen, Mia, and Ashley regarding if they had $1 million of their own in the bank, would they be with their husbands, was a bit sketchy to me. I noticed she direct asked Candiace though. Thank you for that super chat, boo. Thank you. Oh, it was such a gag moment for me because I was like, Nicki, is that appropriate? Anyway, but then Nicki brings up, the whole situation with Ray talking about Gizelle's looks fading. And the question was really about Gizelle acknowledging that what Ray said had hurt her. And Gizelle, and this was such an interesting thing that Nicki did in getting Gizelle to, it was a moment that you don't see very often, which is why I liked it, because Gizelle in that moment said, you know what? I should have said that I was hurt instead of saying what I said about Ray. And it was such a small moment. And if you kind of blinked, you missed it because you were still gagging from Gizelle asking if she thought her looks had faded at all. But it was such a big moment, and it was such a quiet moment that I thought, I was like, wow, Nicki could get her to get to that point so easily. Nobody else had been able to do that. Candiace then says, we're still trying to work on Gizelle. And Nicki is like, Candy girl, okay. Whoa, we're having our own moment right now. You chill out. So then Nicki says, well, Gizelle, you talk about Karen's age all the time. Gizelle says, no, I don't. Nicki says, well, what show have you been watching? Because you do. And then we get a flashback from those shady producers. Okay. Gizelle says, well, we never knew how old Karen was. And Nicki says, but Gizelle, you can't say that your face is better than hers. You can't say that your body is better than hers. And it seems a little corny. So then Robyn chimes in and says, but Karen looks younger than she did when she first started the show. And cue those shady producers. Mind you, I had paused it to take notes on what they had just said. When I paused it, we see Karen season 1, Karen season 6. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Karen season 6 looked like she didn't age backwards faster than Benjamin Button, okay? Because circa season 1, she definitely did not look like the same person that she looks like today. And I'm going to tell you, she got hotter. How that happened, I don't know. Now, she say it was a little bit of the filleration. You know what I'm saying? It was a little bit of the, probably the Botoxeration. It was probably a little bit of hydration as well. Drink your water, people. Robyn says that she used to look like she was in her 60s, and now she looks about 52. So Karen goes into what she's had done to herself. You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a pat here, a pat there. You know, all the kind of stuff to get you looking good and young. So then we get back to Gizelle, okay? And side note, I thought Gizelle got it worse than anybody in terms of the questions and her being so point. Maybe Gizelle or Ashley. Probably Gizelle, because I felt like the questions to Gizelle were a bit more pointed, okay? Chime down in the chatterization who y'all felt like got it the worst, okay? Nicki says, would Gizelle, something about would Gizelle have given Jamal a second chance? Gizelle says yes. Nicki says, why is it that you had to get on TV in order to get that second chance on Jamal? Gizelle says that she felt like her success put them on equal footing now. So then Nicki asked a question that I can't tell if it was shade or not. But Nicki was like, so when you were, when you was getting money back in the day, when you was married to him, was you getting it from what he does at the church? Now, I felt like she wanted to say, was you using the church people money? But what she said was you getting what Jamal, pretty much was you getting what Jamal was making from his fee from the church? Gizelle tells us this, that when she got married to him, she helped that man build that church from 40 people to about 15,000. And she says for years, he didn't take no money from the church and that he had his own streams of income. Now, I don't know the backstory with this man. I don't know the Baltimore history like I know a lot of people do. I don't know. So I can't call whether or not this situation is correct or not. But I will say this. It is definitely smart to have multiple streams of income. And if he did that, that was a smart play that he did. And that's all I can say about that. Now we come back from the break, and that's when we discover that Wendy has read all of the cards. Okay. She done read all the cards all the way through. And that was, again, that was a cringe moment for me. But anyway, it's on to Karen. Nicki says, when Gizelle was coming after Karen in episode 1, do you think you prove your point that ain't what she wanted? Karen says, yes. What I said about her having a hot box was all up in the blogs. She says, I didn't believe it, but I had to get her up off of me. Okay. Somebody said I missed a super chat. You know, StreamYard now will allow me to go back further to look at these super chats. So I'm trying to see what I missed. I got the last one I saw from Caramel Cutie. If you happen to catch it, another one, somebody let me know, because y'all know it'll be off and running. Charge it to my mind and not my heart, people. Charge it to my mind and not my heart. Okay. Karen says, yeah, I saw it in the blogs. I didn't believe it, but I had to get her to back up off me. And then Robyn chimes in again and says, Karen makes things up. Gizelle has facts. Robyn. I'm going to need you to just sit on over there. Go back to the back, actually, with Candiace's projector. Going back to the back with the projector. We're going to come back to the projector in a minute. But go on back there, girl. Okay. We get into Ray and Karen and whether or not they're getting down and doing the nasty. And then it's Mia's turn. So Nicki applauds Mia for talking to her mom, but Nicki brings up some good points about, you know, coaching Mia's mom so that she is not, you know, taking on the brunt of Mia's mom's issues with Mia's dad. But then we get into the surgeries and whether or not the kitty cat surgery will enhance the climax. Now, I don't know, and I could not figure out for the life of me. I think she said it did. If you didn't have the kitty cat surgery in the chat and you feel so comfortable, would you let us know if it enhances the moment of climax? Because, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Nicki wants to know if marrying older men is the wave, and apparently it's been the wave. And that's when she asked, if you all had your own 100 million in the bank, would you have gotten married to the man that you married? Ashley says, well, when I met him, maybe not. And she said she was 22 when she met him. So she says that she was attracted to him. And Nicki says, well, girl, what was you attracted to? And then she said, the most. She cleaned it up real quick. Karen says, I have to have Ray. When I met him, he set her soul on fire. And I actually believed it. I did. I believed it because I don't know whether or not she was just that convincing. But then she says it didn't hurt that he was rolling in the dough. Okay. Mia says, what makes you think I don't have $1 million in the bank? And then Nicki was like, I know you don't. And see, this is where I say that Nicki can say what Andy cannot say. Okay. Now, because you know Andy was just probably gonna say, well, do you have 100 million in the bank? And Nicki's like, I know you don't have 100 million in the bank, girl. I know you don't. Okay. I mean, because if I had 100 million in the bank, I wouldn't be here. Okay. I wouldn't be sitting on that couch. Wouldn't. Would you? I would not. If you had $100 million, would you be sitting on the couch at the reunion for the Real Housewives of Potomac? I would not. Okay. I don't even know if I would have a TV because I'd be so busy in the air traveling, baby. Give me. Okay. You asking the wrong one. Anyway. So we get into Nicki confronts her about the restaurant that Mia said she used to work at, and whether or not it was a strip club or it was a high-class gentleman lounge or something like that. Now, I only know from you guys and from hearing it from Mia about the high-class gentleman's lounge because a couple of you guys had done said it was a thing back when we first talked about it. So I got a little education from y'all. Now, but Nicki don't believe it. But Mia says, I have learned that I have got to speak about these women as entertainers and not strippers. And I have to be the voice of the people and let the world know that these are not strippers. These are not strippers. These are entertainers. Okay. Nicki said, no, you did not try to make this into an empowerment movement. Oh God. Oh, I was falling out. Paparazzi says with all Nicki's money, she's still attracted to you know what? Paparazzi. Thank you for your super chat. Baby, I was crying. I was crying, not an empowerment movement. So Mia's definition of strip clubs is where you get the wings. And Nicki says, oh, okay, so it's an entertainment business. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know about nothing else. I will say this. I told y'all the other day, y'all need to go on down to Miami and probably Atlanta too. But I ain't been to no strip. Have I been to a strip club in Atlanta? I don't think so. But the strip clubs in Miami, listen, we used to go to the lunch at the strip club in Miami at Tootsie's. Okay, telling on myself, but I don't care. You could take your friends to lunch there. Okay, and they do have the best food. They got the best wings. So I don't know. I don't know about it. I don't know. I mean, they be making it rain. You got kitty cat juice probably flying all over the place, all over your wings. Okay, but we still down there eating them. Okay. Sassy says you missed when Nicki told Gizelle she doesn't have anything compared to Karen. Something to the fact that when people don't have nothing to say, they come at your age. Boom. Okay. Sandy says the strip club steak be seasoned. Nerva Rock says sending you some love for the way you make me laugh. Thank you, boo. Appreciate you. Okay. Mina, I'm trying to tell you, these be the best. Head on down to Miami. They need to give me some money for promoting them the way that I do. But the food is just it magnifique. Okay, magnifique. Meanwhile, okay. Mia, Nicki says, Mia, does it make you feel good when you at the club entertaining, when you entertaining somebody's husband and they seem attracted to you? And then Candiace interrupts her again and says, because we are all insecure or something to that effect. And Gizelle is finally like, girl, would you please let her speak? Nicki tells her, if you don't go to the back and get your projector and come back when I am done, girl, get on. Stop interrupting, okay? Now, Nicki says, well, ask me, well, why did you say Wendy's husband couldn't look at you? Mia says it was more about her feeling, and I'm paraphrasing. It was more about Wendy feeling like, Wendy wouldn't let him talk. So now Wendy is next. Oh, and Mia and Wendy have a back and forth. But I mean, honestly, they be going back and forth so much, I couldn't even tell what they were saying, and I wasn't interested. Anyway, Wendy is next in the hot seat. So Nicki says, well, girl, how did you go from a political commentator to doing the candles? Okay, it seemed very odd. And then there was a kind of back and forth between Wendy and Ashley that I didn't pick up on. And I'm sorry for that, y'all. I failed. I failed, y'all. But anyway, Nicki moved on. Was Eddie looking at booty models? You seem to be very controlling, like you would be managing his social media. So how did you get to the point where, this man is able to look at the booty models and then here come production, here come production with the shade, okay? I was like, not y'all knowing how many people he followed, not y'all checking to see how many people he had done follow prior to, and then after the article, what in the world? Production is in the minutia, and I am here for it. Now, I didn't pick up on this. I didn't pick up on it. But let me tell you something. Whoever is in the back room editing Bay at down to the Bravo Real Housewives of Potomac, y'all need a raise. Y'all need the only raise. Bonnie O says Gizelle is correct about the church. Jamal took care of the congregation as well as the community. Real talk. Can't take that from him. And you know what? Sometimes, let me say this, and this is a real thing. I don't know what this man does in his personal life and in his private life, but there is a space where I feel like you can say this person did do these positive things, but maybe their personal life is a mess, but they getting some things done. And that's the beauty of people in real life in general, because none of us are perfect. And so, I'm just going to look at the situation like that. Thank you, Bonnie O, for, chiming in with that. We try to keep it positive over here. Okay. When we can. So we get into the articles, about the booty models. Wendy says the blogs are lying, but the screenshots prove otherwise, okay? There was 623 that he was following before, and then he had done unfollowed and was only following 466 after the article dropped. JD says when Wendy was shook when Nicki asked about the booty models, her whole tone changed to something like a goblin turkey. Y'all gonna stop it with these turkey jokes today. I'm hungry again. Autumn says production team is the MVP of the season. Amen to that, Autumn. S. Wilson says, hate that no one made Wendy answer why she made Eddie erase his answer when they were playing the game. Would have justified why Mia called her insecure. Well, for whatever it was that Mia had said about it was apparently the same things that Nicki was thinking about Wendy as well. So, I mean, do we need to look at that now? Like, let's see what else going on. Anyway, Wendy says she don't know how many people he following. And then Nicki asked, well, girl, is that why you got the enhancement to keep up with the booty models? Wendy says no, because my butt still ain't that big. I'll give her props for honesty. Anyway, it's on to Candiace. Nicki says, girl, your mother seems willing to destroy your husband for the world to see. And Candiace, she break down. She got the little, she done fold up the little tissue and she dab it, ever so delicately. And she says, well, girl, what are you going to tell your mother? You are a grown woman. And Nicki really does lay it down to Candiace about the situation with her mom. I did not feel like that was coming from a bad place. I felt like it was coming from a woman-to-woman type place about, hey, girl, this is your husband. Like, at the end of the day, you don't have to answer to your mother no more. You got to answer to your man, okay? You got to answer to your man, all right, at the end of the day. So for Candiace, she says, apparently, this is something else that I don't like when people do this. Candiace says Miss Dot was just saying whatever she needed to for TV, and that Candiace ended up taking a break from her for a couple of weeks. See, this is where I tell y'all that it's a very slippery slope when people start saying and doing things for airtime. It's uncalled for, and it's such a slippery slope because at the end of the day, regardless of whether or not you meant what you said or what, you simply just threw your husband, your daughter's husband, under the bus to make some good TV. That's not cool. It's not cool, and it's not real. It's not even real. So now you've created a situation in your household where you might have got clicks and views. You ain't getting no extra pay for that. Okay, it might have made it to air, but it definitely ain't paint your. It doesn't do any favors for your daughter or your son-in-law. Elijah says, can you please elaborate on why Wendy is so mad or maybe jealous at Mia? I'm confused. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's jealousy. I think she's probably just mad at her for a couple of different things that maybe she saw throughout the season, and maybe she just kind of got fed up. Because I know that Mia said that they were okay at the end of the season, but going into the reunion, apparently not so much. So I can only assume it's from things that she saw on the show. Nicki tells her that she needs to set some boundaries. We talk about Drive Back, and Nicki asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, how successful did the ladies feel like the song was going to be? And Mia's like -2. Nicki says she means like, how much did they think it was going to sell? Like, how much did they think it was going to go platinum? And Karen says, okay, well, at least a 5. Candiace said the song has sold 500,000 streams. Wendy says she's on the charts. And so Nicki says, girl, how many copies did the album sell? Candiace says 500,000. Nicki said, no, the album sells. Okay. The album sells. Candiace she pulls out the numbers because she did not know them off the top. And she says 20,000. Okay. Robyn is like, I bought one. Thank you, girl. You should have probably bought 20. Okay. I mean, if you're gonna make a statement, just tell her that you bought 20. I gave 10, I gave 19 away to my friends, girl, and they loved it. You was hot. Okay. I bought one. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Okay. And we tossed to Candiace's new single, Isn't Enough. And Nicki said, if I had a record label, which I do, what would be your selling point that you would sell to me? And Candiace says, my vocal ability first. I've been singing my whole life. I'm going to tell you guys the truth. A lot of people may have felt like she went extra hard at Candiace, but I don't feel that way. I feel like this was a master class in record industry 101, record industry outside of Housewives. And not only that, I'm gonna save it for a second, what I'm really gonna say, but this was an opportunity for Candiace to learn what it's gonna take outside of the confines of Housewives shows when people are really asking her these types of questions in interviews about her music. And I think that ultimately this was a great moment for Candiace, because even though when Nicki confronted her about her use of acapella, I felt like Candiace answered, I used that for creativity. And so that's how we came about with using that so much throughout the record. And then when Nicki asked her to sing acapella, this also too, again, was another opportunity for Candiace to display her talents. And even though she hemmed and hawed and didn't want to sing her own song, as everybody was trying to convince her to do, the production team and Nicki and Candiace herself set herself up to win those last moments of the reunion. I'm going to tell you guys, honestly, I don't always like what Candiace does on the show. And we can argue about whether or not it's any worse than anybody else. But what you cannot take away from her is that she does have an ability to sing. And just that moment and how it felt at the end, I have to commend her, because I just felt like this was a nice moment for her. It really was. Whether you like her or not. I mean, she sang the song. Nicki is there. I mean, this is like social proof 101. Nicki is sitting there jamming to her singing the song. And it was think about it. You're singing your song on a platform this big. That is the best promotion you can possibly have. You got a new single out, a new video out, and you're singing your other single that was already out and on the charts. What better promotion can you get? Okay. So I will tell you guys, I did feel like Candiace won the end of that reunion, because I just thought that was her moment to shine, and they allowed her to do that. And again, I may not always like the things that Candiace says or does. I may not, but that was a moment for her. And I was actually very proud of her in that moment. And it made me smile. Like, the end of that reunion made me smile. I laughed, I chuckled, and I just felt like this was good. This left me feeling good at the end of this. Chastity says, no, this is your time, girl. Show up, give it to the queen, girl. Your time. Absolutely. Sam says, do you think production edit footage out in favor of Gizelle? Because everyone said Nicki went hard on Gizelle, but it didn't show. Mia is a hater. I don't know. I'm sure that there's some stuff that probably didn't make it, but I mean, it didn't seem like to me, it didn't seem like she went that hard at anybody. And it's also because I listened to the tone of her voice and what she was asking, and there were laughs and winks and stuff like that when she was asking the questions. So I felt like she was asking with, okay, like, we really want to know this, but I mean, every question was kind of asked with a smile and a wink. Mrs. D. Green said, hands down, her I See You Go-Go mix is the best. That mix is actually really, really good. And I love me some go-go. So I mean, I can't hate on what she's doing musically. I just think it's really, really good. It's really, really good. But we get a moment, okay, where Chris then comes out for the break, because Mia got to go pee. And even Mia has to hand it to her, like, girl, I'm gonna go download it. Okay. Like, that was good. That was you. It was so good that even somebody that Candiace had been beefing with was able to say, girl, you did that. You did that. I'm gonna download it. That was a moment right there. It was such a moment. And I'm passionate about that, again, because y'all know I'm passionate about people and artists being creative and stuff like that. And I just loved it. It just made me warm and fuzzy on the inside. So anyway, they take a break at the end, and Chris comes out, and he's real angry about the line of questioning that was going on. And I'm like, did we miss something? Because I didn't feel like what she did was that bad with Candiace. If anything, again, I felt like Candiace won the night. Okay. He says he's been seeing what's going on for the past 3 seasons. And I guess for some reason he had drama with the questions. Andy then actually comes out and compliments Candiace on her singing and how hard he knows that must have been. So I just didn't get it what Chris was upset about. And maybe we would need some further explanation from him about that, but I didn't see it. Mariana says, I couldn't understand why Chris was upset. Seems like Nicki was asking questions in defense of him. What peed him off? That's what I was saying too. It felt like to me she was asking questions that were like, hey, protect your husband. I don't know. Antonia says, I like Nicki. I like that Nicki asked her to do that. I do not like that, well, in my opinion, that Gizelle and Mia were antagonizing her, but Candiace showed out. Okay. Yeah. I do. I just love that she just did it, Diva 1675 says, you see Andy swoop in and shut Chris up about Nicki and Candy. Yeah, I mean, it was like, come on now. Like, this was Candiace's moment, and it did not need to be marred by any negativity, personally. Paparazzi V says, she got an okay alto, church choir, lead male vocals type voice, but she did good last night. Yeah. And we got, I mean, we're going to give her props on what, on her killing. I mean, and I say kill it because I feel like it just takes a lot of, you could tell it took a lot for her to do that. And again, I just felt like this will prepare her moving forward for what she will face when she gets out of the housewife sphere of, of acceptance. She's going to have to fight it out there, in the world of, R&B and, just proving herself. And this was a great first step in her learning that lesson and then taking that next big step. So shout out to Candiace for that. I really feel passionately about her continuing down that path musically and just discovering what's out there. But she will learn those lessons that she needs to learn. And last night was a first. But anyway, y'all, that's my review of the Real Housewives of Potomac season 6 reunion part 4. Okay, I'm getting all tongue tied. Sassy says we missed a lot that didn't make it. All the ladies in their interviews on the show said that Nicki went hard on Candiace and Gizelle the most. Again, I told you, I mean, based on what I saw, and thank you for the super chat, that I felt like she went harder at Gizelle than anybody else, and maybe even Ashley. But Ashley, knowing what I know now, is just cool as a cucumber, and stuff really, I mean, just rolls off her back. My assumption is that Gizelle has become the same type of person. Misunderstood says she was trying to embarrass Candiace. That's why Chris was mad. I don't know. It possibly could have been that, but I think also what she wanted her to do was get a better understanding of the types of questions that she will get out in the real world, because there will be, again, like anybody else who is a singer, who is a vocalist, who is a rapper, when you go out into these streets and start doing interviews with major outlets, they will ask you these things. And it would be better to now know what to expect going out in the world at this point. You're correct. The music industry is very, very tough. It really, really is. And I say that just as someone who has kind of worked with it in some regards. I used to work in A&R when I was in LA, and I'm trying to tell you, it's not an easy business, and people will test you. Spiritfield says, I heard Candiace, Gizelle, and Mia cried, none of which we saw. Perhaps that is why Chris was upset. I mean, we didn't see it, so it's hard to say, right? It's hard to say. Anyway, y'all, that is my review. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. Y'all know I love y'all. It's Monday. We about to get back into the week. I got a lot of videos to do. Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm gonna probably get to that tomorrow, along with Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, and then today at about I would say maybe like 1:15 or like 1:30. Excuse me. We will do Portia's Family Matters, and again, y'all, we got a lot to talk about. So anyway, that is that. Thank you guys for tuning in. And y'all know I will catch you in the next video.